Hey y'all, welcome to my Cajun cooking channel. This is the first video. I figure I may as well introduce myself so that you know who is going to be guiding you through some basic Cajun recipes. My name is Jonathan Arndt. I live and work in Toronto, but I originally come from Southwest Louisiana. I've been eating and cooking Cajun food for a really long time. Brought it up here with me, all of the recipes, experience, and know-how, because as you might expect, Toronto isn't exactly a bastion of Cajun cuisine. I've been cooking since I could pluck feathers off of a duck. I remember early mornings at the hunting camp with my dad and my great uncles, cleaning ducks by a little faucet outside, and then those ducks then being part of the gumbo that we would have that night. And my children, who are American and Canadian, because they're living away from where I grew up, I want to make sure that some of these basic fundamentals of culture and cooking are passed down. So this video is as much for them as it is for anyone else who might want to learn something along the way. I learned from my dad. He was the cook in the family. My mother, bless her heart, she wasn't a great cook, but there were some things that she was absolutely fantastic at, and I will be sharing those recipes somewhere along the line. But primarily my dad did the cooking. He's Cajun. My great uncles, I also cooked with them. My grandmother, I also learned from her, and now I'm hoping to pass on some of that knowledge to y'all. The first thing I should say is, if you're joining this channel because you had this amazing dish in New Orleans and you want it replicated, you're probably not going to get that here, because my cooking is not like Creole. It is also not by any stretch of the imagination considered fine dining. My plating, I mean, there's nothing really to it. It's not going to look pretty, but if you hang in there, I can guarantee that it will taste good. The further east you get, the more Creole the cuisine and the culture becomes. So because I was in Southwest Louisiana, I was on the western side of what is known as Acadiana, which is really the heart of Cajun culture in Louisiana. On the other side of Acadiana, you get into Baton Rouge, New Orleans. New Orleans has much more Creole influence. So that means you're talking about Caribbean islanders, escaped slaves, sub-Saharan African communities, a lot of Spanish influence in the area, whereas the part of Louisiana I am from is more strictly and typically Cajun and Acadian. As such, there are going to be elements to the recipes that I use that are probably not going to be what you may have tried in New Orleans and are looking to replicate. So maybe not the channel for you. I'm not that fancy. The ingredients lists for everything I do are pretty slim. Cajuns were literally dirt poor, and they made much with and out of little. So this shouldn't be anything that intimidates anybody. It shouldn't be anything that's too scary, because it's simple methods with pretty simple ingredients. I think if I were to call it rustic, that's probably kind. It's a bit euphemistic for what you'll see, because there's nothing that pretty about it, but it is simple. As I speak right now, I've got the roux going, because my approach to this channel is to help people feel empowered to try this on their own. And what is an authentic gumbo? What is an authentic jambalaya? If you're going to a restaurant and you order jambalaya and they bring you something with, for example, pasta, noodles on the plate, then you're not eating what I would consider jambalaya. Shrimp Creole, meatball fricassee, like there are a lot of dishes, fried chicken, that I'm going to be doing over the course of this channel. Now, for some of the dishes, I want to go with something that is simple, and others, a more advanced version. So the first thing that I'm going to do is post a beginner gumbo recipe. And then for those of you who maybe are a little bit more intrepid and willing to take a little bit more time and add more steps into what you do, I will have an advanced version that will go up shortly thereafter. So I'm going to be making 2 batches of gumbo, one that is quite simple and easy, and the other one a little bit more difficult in terms of steps that you're going to take to develop the flavors of a gumbo. The editing, I've never edited video. It's going to be really rough. I can't decide whether the food or the quality of the edit and programming that I put out is more or less rustic, because I'm learning a lot of this stuff as I go. I went to pull up my lapel mic today and it didn't work because I don't have an adapter for it. So I'm hoping that the audio on this phone is okay. But the hope is that as we go on, I add more videos, get a little bit more experience. Maybe it becomes a little bit more polished, and maybe that will somehow translate to the food. So in the next couple of days, we're going to start with making a roux, which is going to be video number 1. It's a pretty straightforward process, but it's sort of a joke in Cajun cuisine that first you got to make a roux. It's the basis of so many dishes that we're going to cook. So being able to master the roux is super important. And then after that, we're going to do a beginner gumbo, and we will see where we go from there. Also, if there are any requests, if you're wondering about anything that I might make or you would like to see me make, go ahead and let me know. I can't guarantee that I will have cooked it before or that I know how to cook it, because Cajun cuisine has become sort of a catch-all term for a number of different things, and my repertoire may end up being relatively narrow in the culinary landscape of what we call and what passes for Cajun these days. But thank you for clicking, and if you made it this far, I'm even more appreciative. And if you make it to the next video on how to make a roux and the gumbo after that, I hope that you enjoy it. Thanks, y'all.